this is Baron from Ragic speaking. We have just started streaming and we'll be starting the webinar in 3 hours. This webinar is a little bit different from the other ones. It is a platform for you to ask all your questions. It can be as general or specific as you want, and we'll try to answer everything we can. I am not expecting a very large audience this time around. Because it's this holiday season in the US and, well, most of the world actually, so we'll see how that goes. So for those of you who have never been in a YouTube webinar before, we do have, well, actually it's a YouTube live stream. We do have a chat box, so that's where you'll get to ask your questions. If you have a larger monitor, you'll see it on the right side, and if you have a smaller monitor, you'll need to scroll down a little bit to see the chat box. It's on the right side. So you can start asking your questions right away, and I'll try to answer them as much as I can. And this will only last about an hour, so we have plenty of time to answer a few questions. And I do have a few examples on my test database, but I would be happy to build anything that is more complicated according to your questions. So again, for those of you who are just joining, ask away. The chat box is on the right side if you have a larger monitor. If you have a smaller monitor, it should be a little bit on your bottom right. So if you scroll down a little bit, you'll see the chat box. Alright, I'll be waiting for your questions. There might be a slight delay before I am. Hi, official LSSE, who have said I got up bright and early to come and watch. Well, fire away. We're here to answer questions. This webinar is a little bit different from the traditional webinar. I don't really have a fixed topic. And if you have any questions about building a database in Ragic, or like how it works, or maybe you have a problem you might want to solve and you haven't figured it out yet while designing your database, so that's what we answer. Alright, I'll be monitoring the questions as we go as well. Again, there is no limit to what you can ask. We are happy to help out and build prototypes as we go. And I'm on my other monitor here monitoring the questions, and then on my other monitor I can actually build things, which you are seeing right now, the one with the green banner. If you in particular don't have any questions and are here for watching other people's questions being answered, then you can do so as well. That's totally fine. But we're here to answer user questions, so feel free to ask anything. For those of you who are just joining, you can see a chat box. If your monitor is larger, it should be on the right side. If your monitor is smaller, scroll down a little bit and our chat box is right there on the right side. So again, this webinar is mostly about answering user questions, and we will build prototypes along the way according to what you're asking. So feel free to ask anything. This is a very good time for you to, walk in and ask very specific questions or general questions that if you're a new user in Ragic, if you have just started building your database. If you already have an established database and want to change something or make it more efficient, you can ask me how to do so. We do have a lot of tips, to use your database, even if you're not a system administrator. So feel free to ask anything about that either as well. So again, your questions come through the chat box. It's on the right side of your screen. If you have a smaller monitor, you can scroll down a little bit and there's the chat box, and I will be answering any questions you have. Alright, no questions so far. If you're typing, you can write the short version first and then the longer version, and then I'll try answering or ask for more details if necessary. So that's also an option. Alright, for those who are just joining, you can ask anything through the chat box. It's on the right side of your screen. If you don't see the chat box at the moment, you can scroll down a little bit. It should be on the right. And I am taking questions. I have no questions so far. Okay. I do have a question. Okay. I have a question. I recently recommended a mail merge for emailing. Can you be a little bit more specific? I might have missed that ticket. Somebody else might have replied you. What do you mean by mail merge for emailing? Is it more like using your field values to email? Because that is certainly possible. We do actually have a way to use your records field values to be inside the email itself while you're emailing, but you'll need to do that with JavaScript. We do have a tutorial for that, and it's quite simple. Let me just find the tutorial first. So it should be on our knowledge base. There it is. So there is a way to look up the field IDs of your several different fields, and well, you can write an HTML email and then use the field values as variables within your field form design, and then use those values to get parameters and then send. So this is the only real method right now. For your suggestion, I don't know if other people can see your text, but yeah, for your suggestion of having a template and emailing from there would be great actually. And I don't know what they answered you about that in our ticketing system, but it should be easy to implement, and we already have a mass emailing feature that can be used for this. So I think this might be something we could look into in the future in our development in Ragic. So I'll bring this up to our developers again, since you already suggested it, and see if they actually created a ticket on that. If not, I can talk with our developers to see what they think. Currently, they're working hard on creating a new reporting type, and also they're kind of organizing the linking tools to be in a user-friendly menu that includes other features, like converting records and then updating record values in other linked sheets. So that's what they're working on right now, but this can be a next project that you can work on. Right now, the best workaround is this JavaScript email notification that you can create. The example here in our knowledge base is for emailing whenever a new record is created. So when you save a record, it will go and send an email to a certain email address in one of your fields. This might not be ideal for most cases, I do agree, but if you do know a little bit programming, you can probably make that email be triggered by certain things, for example, an action button, or if it meets a certain criteria. So this is a very simple example, and I can send you the link through chat, I guess. Not sure if YouTube allows URLs, but I'll quickly send this link on our chat over here so you can have a look. Yeah, it does take URLs. So yeah, you can have a look at that example, and that should be the best workaround at the moment. Other than that, I guess, yeah, your suggestion should be very useful for other users as well. So I'll bring it up and see what we can do. All right, any other questions? So no, we don't have a current template for that, or an interface that visually shows you how to do an like a email that's composed by your values, but should be pretty simple. All right, any other questions? Again, this webinar is not a webinar in the traditional sense, so people join in and leave at whenever they want, and I don't really know who's watching at the moment because I can't see the usernames unless they write on the chat. So if you just joined in and want to send me a question, just if you have a larger monitor, you probably can see a chat box on the right side. If your monitor is a little smaller, you can scroll a little bit downwards and it should be on the right. So please write your questions. I'm here to answer anything. We have 50 more minutes, so that's plenty of time to build a few prototypes according to your questions. And official Alice SE, I don't know your name, but I'll call you official. If you give me a use case of what you're going to do with the email, I can have a better argument on getting that email feature implemented. And I'm pretty sure some of our other users would find that useful as well. So, any other questions? I would be glad to help you out in very specific formulas or questions. Usually towards the end of the webinars, people come in with very complicated formulas, and then sometimes we don't really have enough time, but we stretch it. But I'd be really glad to help out with things that you're trying to do in your database right now, if you're building it just now, or if you want to kind of have more things in your already built database. Anyone else? Official LSE is saying I'm experiencing connection issues from your stream. I don't know what's causing this. Let's have a look. I changed some settings. It's saying viewers may be experiencing minor issues, so maybe it's your connection. Right now, my connection is pretty fast, so I'm not sure if that's caused by that or if YouTube is laggy. I'll write you a message here. Sorry if you can hear my keyboard typing. I have a mechanical keyboard over here and it's really loud. Alright, people who have just joined, our webinar is not really a webinar in a traditional sense, so you can ask your questions through the chat box and I'll be sure to answer, and we're here to build prototypes and answer questions. So if you have any specific questions about like, hey, I'm building this, can you help me? Or like, I'm out of ideas, I don't know how to do linking, or maybe you already created the basis of your database and done all the linking but are stuck on one formula. It happens. I'm here to help, and please don't hesitate to ask me questions. I'm here for that. And on the right side you should be seeing a chat box, and you're very welcome. Official LSCE. And well, I am streaming and I've been told that the stream health is a little bit bad and it's buffering, but it looks fine on my end, so I'm not really sure what happened. If you're seeing this very slow, it might be because of your connection or something about YouTube, because my streaming is showing very healthy. If you're having trouble, you can come back later and ask your questions now and come back later to watch the video, but usually it goes pretty smoothly when people ask your questions. So please don't hesitate to ask me anything. I'm here to answer your questions and build prototypes if necessary. It's showing my streaming health is okay, as in it's green, which is good. So I'm not sure what is causing your issue. Sorry. Anyway, I would really like to answer some questions, so if you have any, please send me some, and I'll be sure to answer. Anyone? Yeah, I wasn't really expecting a crowd, because it's mostly the holidays right now. And I really do hope everyone is having a great holiday season. Yes, we will be doing more streams in the future. I haven't planned for January yet, but we will probably have 3 um, over the month. I usually really get more people joining the stream, and this is a bit unusual because it might be the holiday season for you. I can see some more people have joined. If you just joined, you might notice that we have a chat box on the right side of your monitor. If you can't see it, you might have a smaller monitor, so scroll a little bit down, and on the right side there's a chat box where you can ask me any questions. I will be really happy to answer any question you have. This isn't really a webinar in the traditional sense, it's more like a Q&A where I'm happy to solve your problems or build prototypes according to your questions. So right now what you see on your screen is my other monitor with an empty database account. Well, it's not exactly empty because I have 2 examples of customers and say products sheets that are just there if I need them, because I like to be prepared. But if you have a question very specific about a formula, or you're trying to build something that you're not really sure how to link or structure, then I would be really glad to build a prototype according to your description. So go to the chat box on the right side. If you can't see it, it should be a little bit downward. So scroll down and it should be on the right. You can write me your questions and I'll answer as much as possible. And really, please don't be shy because we're really here to solve your problems and answer all your questions about Ragic. So if you have any questions about your specific case, such as I am building a real estate database and I'm really not sure how to sell these properties and then buy them back and then sell them again. If you have like specific problems saying, oh, I need the history of this property and who has leased it before and whatnot, then I'd be happy to build a prototype like that and then go forward with that example. If you don't have a specific question but are here to watch something, we don't really have a fixed agenda for the webinar. It's just more of a advanced Q&A, I guess, but without receiving any questions, I can't answer anything. So please write in the chat box on the right side of your screen. If you can't see the chat box, it should be a little bit below, right below the video on the right. So there's a chat box and you can say anything, and please comment and ask your questions so that I can answer. Official LSSE, if you do know a little bit HTML, the email is that part. So if you go to the link and there's the example over here, so the value that it's getting is shown in the JavaScript workflow module that you have in your database. So that is the field ID, and it's getting that as a variable. So for example, the name, it's getting the customer name, and then the email is getting the customer's email with the field ID. So the field ID you can see from the JavaScript workflow. If you want to see it on your form itself, it's underneath every field's name when you click on the fields. So that's where the value is. So it's going to get the value of the certain field, referring to its field ID, and then you can add that variable into the email with this format. So when you're adding it next to a string, which is your email body, it should show, for example, if the customer is named Amy and that's the value in your sales order, then it's going to say, "Hi Amy, we have received your sales order." So this is basic HTML with the variable inserted in by Ragic, and the pluses are just strings of text, string linked to each other, and then the BRs in HTML are break. So this has 3 line breaks. I hope that makes sense. And this this should be the format that goes on here. If you want to attach something, this is what you add to that parenthesis in the end. So yeah, this is quite a little bit advanced. It is, well, basically in our JavaScript workflow. You can learn more about the JavaScript workflow if you click on this link. This is a little bit advanced for regular users. It is a little bit programming knowledge, and you just go in and have a look at the example. I can make an example over here, saying like, add a customer, it will email them saying welcome to our loyalty program or something like that. So let's go in and do that actually. So I'll just take this example and put it on the side and have my customer sheet. So this is a very bare bones customer sheet with their email and name and last name and whatnot. So I want the email to say, "Hi Bonnie, welcome to our loyalty program. Here's a link to our $10 off coupon. Thank you for joining," or whatnot, okay? So if I go in and right click on our customer sheet, I'll see the JavaScript workflow where I want to enter this email into. So this guide is saying you can add this script to the forms post workflow. So I'm going to JavaScript workflow, and then it's going to be in the post workflow. Post workflow means it's after a certain thing, and this certain thing is, as I said before, this example is to send an email when a record is created. Okay, so if I write the code over here, variable name, get new value, make sure that you're copy pasting or like using the exact same parameter, because this is case sensitive. So I can't write all caps get new value or anything, because it wouldn't understand what I'm saying. So I want the customer's first name. So I'm just copying the field ID from here and their email. So this is basic programming. It's just using their parameters, their field IDs as the parameters, and then using them as a variable. And I will need the name and email. I don't really need anything else, so I'm just leaving it there. Mailer, send mail. So I'm just copying what I'm seeing over here. An email. So the first thing they are going to see is the title of the email. So that's what you see as the subject line. So welcome to store VIP, okay, is my title. And then I'm going to add title. Okay. Sorry, I don't need title because that's actually in here. So I don't really need a title. And I'll start with hi plus name, because I want to say hi to that name. So you know that if I rate this, it's gonna say hi name. It's most like hi me. So I will need to add a hi and then a space. No, actually a space and then a comma after their name. Hi name. So that's how the email is being composed. And then I kind of want some break lines as well. Welcome to our VIP program. And then probably more break lines. Well, actually, having break lines after a sentence is better. No, a sentence, and then I'll actually add a plus here. And then it's a new string. Welcome to our VIP program. And then plus. Here's a link to a $10 off coupon. So as this is basic HTML, I can write anything I want. So I can say like link to coupon. So this is a URL, for example, www.example.com. And then here is a link, would be an entire link. So I'm closing that HTML off for the link and then going off and saying like from the store team. So you just compose your email with a HTML, and then you have to close it off. So our email ended, and then I need to put this to say that it ended, and I'll save it. So now we can go in and test this. So if I add myself as a new customer, Yeah, definitely. I mean, I know what you mean. It's just that we don't really have that right now. Um, so I have my name and my email, and if I save, it will email me basically. Well, it's not sending because I have something wrong in line 22. Let's check line 22 and see what's the problem. Line 22. Mailer. Let's see, the email subject content. That should be correct. No, I have to add a comma there. Right, comma. Okay, let's go back to our customers and try adding a new one. And see if it works this time. Yep, so it should have emailed me. Let's go to my mailbox and check very quickly. So I'm not actually supposed to show my mailbox to you, so I'll pause the stream. No, I can't really pause the stream. Can I freeze it? No, well, I'll do it from my other computer. So let's see. Signing in at the moment. Yep. Welcome to Store VIP. So it kind of looks like, let me, no, let me copy the email URL and send it to myself. I can't really do that on two different computers, but I'll send a screenshot, I guess. Alright, so yeah, it's definitely advanced, and I don't really recommend new users to do this, but it's pretty simple as well. So if you follow the instructions for the example, it should be fine. And um, if you're doing the same thing, it should let you send an email when a record is saved. So you don't really have to use that certain email of a customer. If you want to email yourself when something is saved, then you can add a hidden field that shows your email as the default value. It really depends on what you were trying to do. And in my case, I wanted to email the customer when they join a VIP program. So that should work for that case. And what I just showed you, it did email me when I saved the record. So I'm trying to figure out a way to send how it looks like to you users, but it's basically not that simple to use two computers on the same YouTube channel right now because I'm not really supposed to show you my mailbox. So I will link um, to that one screenshot later on, I guess. I just really can't show you my mailbox because it's work mail. Anyway, we can actually use one of the free mailing things, I guess. Free burner email online. Let's try that. Mailinator, yeah, I've used this before, so this lets you use any email address ending with @mailinator.com, and we'll have a look at how it looks like. So let's see, customers, because Sally Jenkins, let's add Sally Jenkins @mailinator.com. So I just saved that record, and if we check Sally Jenkins' mailbox, it should show that email. There you go. Welcome to Store VIP from Ragic. So if I click on it, it should say what I wrote. Hi Sally, welcome to our VIP program. Here's a link to a $10 off coupon from the store team. So as this is HTML, you can pretty much write anything that you're usually writing into your, you know, regular marketing emails. So it's pretty simple. It's just inserting these variables. So this name is coming from my name over here, and I set that as a variable when I said in the JavaScript workflow, post workflow, that the name is the value of this field. So the field ID is also here, but you can see it on your actual design. When you change the design, you can see a field ID when you click on every individual field. This ID is generated when you first save the form page. So when you're first designing a form for the first time, you won't see the field ID here. Once you save the design for the first time, you'll see that there's a field ID over there. So that should be your cue to having a look at the field ID at the first place. When you go to the JavaScript workflow, it already says what field IDs are saved on this form already, so that you can refer to this. And it doesn't really matter what you name these, it's just because we're referring to them later, we need to give them a name. So that's basic programming, and it should be pretty useful for most of our people to have a visual interface like you're saying. So yeah, that's a very good suggestion. We'll look into it and tell you what we think if we implement it. It should be in our pop-up announcements when we do. So I'd say there's a good chance of us implementing something like that. And yeah, this may be very advanced for new users. Okay, so to your other question, lastly, will there be any new features coming to the mobile version? Yes, there will be. Currently, I think they're working on having the Android app catch up to the iOS app, and we will be working on new features soon, like getting the reporting features online, I think might be the next step. I don't really know their timeline for this, but they're constantly working on improving the mobile app. If you have any specific suggestions, saying, for example, I needed this feature to be on the mobile app, soon because I need to use this for XYZ case. For example, you know how they allow you to do offline entries now? No, actually, that's what they're working on. You know how they allow you to load your entries when you're online, and then later when you're offline, you can look at them? That was a suggestion that we thought it was a great idea before, and we were wanting to implement that for a while, but when a few customers come in and say we need this feature because it would be the best case for us to go ahead and implement it when it's asked several times. So please don't hesitate to email us or, you know, write on the online chat and leave a message if we're not online, um, to ask for specific features or feature requests, because we do listen to our customers, and we sometimes don't really know what has a priority for our customers. So if we get a lot of requests, we make sure to implement that request first. Okay, so yeah, I mean, this shouldn't be too scary for most people. Just if you get stuck, just email us and let us know that you're trying to implement an email and for a certain condition, and if we can help you out, we can. And if not, if we think your request is too advanced, then we would probably tell you that it's a bit advanced and our developers can help you out with a certain fee. So you're commenting there needs to be a master search on the mobile version rather than one on each sheet. I think that should be something that's already there. Let me have a quick look at our Android app. Oh, right, you're right. There's no search bar for all sheets. So yeah, that should be on our workflow right now. But you can email support@ragic.com about that and suggest that there should be a master search on the mobile version, and they will probably move it up on their list. Okay, so again, that's support@ragic.com. The YouTube is going to put a space before my at, but please send your suggestion to our developers. So that should be very useful for a lot of users who are using our mobile apps as well. If you guys don't use the mobile app, it's very useful to look up quick things, and I'm speaking to other users. And you know, you can download some of your sheets data beforehand, and then when you're offline you can check them out very quickly. So that's very useful for most cases. If you don't have our mobile apps, we're both on the App Store in iOS and on the Google Play Store as well. We should be on the Amazon store, but that's outdated. So if you are in China, just let us know that you're trying to download the app and we can send you the APK if you're on Android. Alright, any other questions from anyone else? I see there are more people watching at the moment and we have 10 more minutes. I will be happy to answer anything, and I know this example for the email was a bit advanced. I'm sorry about that. It's just really the only way to send automated emails, but if you don't know, there are tools over here and you can send your entries as a mass email, or send your entries individually with the email, the Sentry tool, on individual records. And if you go to the listing page, you can send a mass email to all of the people who have email addresses over here. So for example, if I wanted to send to the email address field, I apparently have 253 customers in this sheet. So if I put a subject and the body of the email here, you can mass send an email. So that should be useful for most cases. I mean, for official, you can have a look into this as well. This is a mass email sending thing from tools over here under tools and share. So you can actually filter out users. For example, if I wanted to only send emails to customers in New York, I can filter that out first, and then go tools, send mass email, and now it's only emailing to 6 addresses. So it works according to what filter you're putting. For example, if I say there is a, you know, if my store is on First Avenue, I can say that, there's a sale on First Avenue store from 21st to Boxing Day. I can just write the body here and then send the email to these 6 addresses who are currently residing in New York. Okay, so that should be useful for most cases if you are scared of doing this custom notification, but your emailing system should be very useful for most cases as well. Okay, so can I answer anyone's questions? Any other people who want to ask anything? We do have plenty of time to create one simple prototype. If you have a simpler question, I can kind of stretch our time if we need to a little bit, but I do need questions to answer. So the emailing, the mass emailing I just showed you guys, that is not really useful for what official was suggesting. He or she was suggesting to populate certain fields within the email. So if you want to create a template, it's not very useful to use that because you'll need to type everything in. It's more useful for mass emails, for marketing, for sales or whatnot, or announcements. It's not very useful to individualize and customize each email with values from within your sheet. So, yeah. The mass emailing tool is still very useful. Our system does send out a lot of those. And, well, it's very nice for quick announcements if you have your customers or, clients over there. For example, if you want to say, oh, I'm not working from today until Christmas, then yeah, you can say that with a mass email. All right, any other questions? For people who have just joined or have joined in the middle of our conversation, you can probably see a chat box on the right side of your screen. If you have a smaller screen, you need to scroll down a little bit, but it's still on the right side. You can write any question on the chat box and I'll do my best to answer. Official, we already have that, and it's called approvals. We already do have that. We have it over. I'll send you the guide. It's called the approval flow. So it's basically you setting up approval steps on your form design, and then you can add one or more steps of the approval status. So whenever you save a new, basically once you're done with your form, you can put it into approval, and then the person or group that you selected. So if you select a group, anyone in that group can approve. If you select a person, only that person needs to approve, like a certain manager. Or if you have a managerial team, you probably need to add those managers inside a manager group and then make them the approver. And then once your field is approved, once your form is approved, you can make it change its status. There is also a way to add if it's approved or not, and then you can filter out all the things that aren't approved yet, so that it won't show up on your listing page, for example. So yeah, we do have that already. I'll send you the link through the chat over here, and you can have a look at how that works. And if you have any feedback, we'd be happy to listen to it as well. I just sent you the link through the YouTube chat, so you can have a look and explore. And if you do have any feedback, just let us know, or any questions you can send to support@ragic.com. All right, any other questions? I know that the approval is a little bit hidden in our interface, but we're changing our interface a little bit so that it should be more visible in the future. So what we're changing is we have the linking tools over here, and we actually have the approval flow over here, which is not very visible. So we're adding this and some other form settings under with the linking tools, but it's going to be called tools in the menu. So it's going to be right next to it, and it should be more visible in the future. So the approval looks like this when you're configuring it. You can add an approval step. So the name, for example, could be from the management group, and then the approver title is, for example, VIP manager, and then allow to reject approval as well. So this locked record, when approval starts, is nobody else can edit the record until the record the entry is approved. So nobody else can go in and edit that record until this manager approves what you're asking them to. So once you save that, the approval will show up under this checkbox thing over here. So when I'm done with Sally Jenkins's entry, for example, I need to add her address first, saying 21 Park Lane, New York, and then her zip code is 212121 something. I think America is 6 digits, and then her birthday can be 16th of December 1957. So that's whatever, and then I can start an approval by selecting a manager. I don't really have anyone in the manager team here, so I can't select right now, but after I start the approval, let's change the design and make it anyone for now, because I don't really have anyone else in the user groups. So once I select, I'm the only user, so I select myself as the VIP manager, for example. I start the approval. So what the approver is going to see is the approver reject when they log into certain entries. And you can see these are all like non-editable entries now. Fields that are not locked. So you can't really edit anything unless this is approved. So for example, this is mostly useful when you're applying for budget for a certain department. You can make the the accountant team the manager for the approval, and they can approve or reject an entry. So I think you can also set um, the value as the approval status somehow. I'm not really sure about the setting there, but it should be in the guide. Yes. So once a field is once a record is approved, um, it will say approved, and then the manager can cancel it if they want to. So yeah, that's basically it. It should have another field that's saying, oh, sorry, the approval here, you can filter for, but I don't think you can add that as a field over there. So you can actually um, add it as a filter, for example, start, um, and then let's start and reject one. And then I can probably filter for rejected. No. So yeah, I think that might be something that needs to be fixed. Right. So there should be a filter over there on the left. I will ask our developers to check that out, but it should be able to allow you to filter by approval status. Alright, I hope that helps. Anyone else? No problem, official. I'm so glad you asked some questions. Other users, if you have last minute questions, I only have a little bit of more time. If not, happy holidays, everyone. I really hope you enjoy your time with your family and loved ones. Alright, no other questions, everyone? That's all the time we have. Thank you so much for joining and watching. If you have any other questions, you can write to support@ragic.com. I wish I could have answered more questions during our time here, but we don't really have much of a time slot this month. Next month, I will, again, as I said in the beginning of the webinar, we will try to arrange around 3 webinars, 2 with certain topics. This month, we already covered subtables. If you haven't watched it, you can look around at our YouTube channel, and we have a lot of tutorials and guides and webinars about past topics. If you have a specific question or ask or give me feedback about why a video does not exist, just send me an email at support@ragic.com. I would be glad to create more videos for people to have a look at. Alright, thank you all so much for joining. I will be ending this webinar now, and the live stream will stop. And if you have any other questions, please email support@ragic.com. I'm reading that again in the chat. And, well, thank you all for joining. Happy holidays.